Excuse me for the change of scenery, but honestly, it's really bad, the weather out here in Ontario. It's just always gray. There is no right time to film anymore. It doesn't matter if it's early morning or mid-afternoon or at nighttime because it's just so gray. Right now, it's raining and it's actually really soothing and comfortable and beautiful, and I love the rain. And normally I wouldn't complain except for the fact that it's hard to film a video when the weather is so groggy out. It's making me want to go nap for 14 hours, but alas, we're gonna still go through our weekly video. And so today I want to talk about the 5 healthy habits that will build your emotional strength. I have my laptop right next to me, so it's gonna be a little bit tricky for me not to keep looking at it because I wrote down some notes. However, I usually just look at the camera, but now it's so tempting because it's right there, but I will try to keep eye contact. Hello and welcome back to Sandra's Shelf, where I talk all things self-help and lifestyle. And like I said, today we're going to talk about the 5 healthy habits in order to build emotional strength. Now, before we get into the habits, I want to give you a little bit of my background with emotional pain, emotional strength, and yeah, just expose the reality of it. So it's no doubt that as humans, we face a lot of challenges, a lot of life-changing events, and it's so normal and human, I would argue, to have big emotional responses, crying, anger, disappointment, despair, depression. All these can actually be tied to emotions and emotional responses. However, when I talk about emotional strength in this video, I mean having enough emotional strength or stamina to not be set off by a small thing. And by small things, I mean your coffee machine is not working as it used to, or your toothbrush falls from your mouth, or something little that sets you off and you're a crying mess, or you're angry and you're ticked off, etc. It's normal to have moments in your life where you feel less emotional capacity. However, I do think that we need to work on building emotional tolerance. Now, before you come at my throat, just know that I am a person that has struggled, still struggle, and probably will likely mostly always struggle with emotional regulation. So I have a lot of emotional dysregulation, and it started at childhood. So exteriorly, I could even appear cold, calm, and reserved, but the moment where I can get a time alone, all those emotions will just overtake me and overtake my life. A lot of times it's caused me to miss school, it's caused me to lie, it's caused me to hide, it's caused me to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have done if I knew a little bit how to regulate my emotions. Honestly, I'm not gonna go so deep in the psychology of this because mental illness is a real thing. Some people really cannot handle their emotions. Some people need medication, some people need more heavily therapy, some people need more extra tools, and I'm actually one of those people that need extra tools, to handle emotional duress. So I know that and I recognize that about myself. That's why I've been collecting in the last few years more and more habits that can help me lead a more emotionally stable life. It is sometimes a uphill battle that doesn't reach the top, but I'm still working on it. But I do believe that I found 5 habits that actually do help. Without these 5 habits, usually I will resort to very bad habits such as substance abuse, self-harm, and etc. So without further ado, that was my little disclaimer. And as always, you guys know I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I am not licensed in any which matter. I'm only sharing my own personal experiences and what has helped me, and hopefully it could possibly help you, and it could be something for you to consider or to talk about with your therapist or the people that you really trust. Okay? Having said that, let's get into the 5 habits. The first healthy habit is to set boundaries. When you don't have correct boundaries in place, you will always make up for it by compromising your mental and emotional health and well-being. Meaning that you will always end up paying with your emotions. Because what ends up happening is that you start to feel bad and you start to value other people's opinions and other people's needs and desires and wants over your own, which in turn will make you combust emotionally, or you will hold it in until you cannot anymore, and then you will never understand that you're letting people take advantage of you, and therefore it lowers your self-esteem and the emotional scar deepens. What's gonna happen is that you're gonna end up being frustrated, you're gonna end up being anxious, you're gonna end up feeling confused, you don't know how to, tell people to stop, or you don't know how to like protect your emotions, or you don't know how to build up the walls that you need. Like, I'm talking about healthy walls, healthy boundaries that every single individual needs. And what's going to happen is that your ability to cope with emotional stress and emotional situations like that, confrontations, or anything that actually violates your boundaries, is going to go down and down and down, and your emotional outbursts or inbursts are going to go higher up. Developing stronger boundaries will help you protect you from these situations. The second healthy habit is to observe your triggers. Now, we all have triggers in life, and they can be small to very big triggers, and they can also be very specific triggers that other people wouldn't consider a trigger, but you do. The point is that you really need to understand what actually triggers you, and don't invalidate yourself. So say if people making comments about your weight, it doesn't matter if it's you losing or gaining weight, triggers you, then you should know this, and you should maybe tell these people, like, I don't want to hear any comments, conversation, or anything like that surrounding my weight. Or the opposite would be, you work on that trigger, you work on realizing that that's a trigger and that you don't want to let it affect you anymore. And so the next time that people do talk about your weight or talk about weight in general, you're better equipped and prepared to understand that people don't see it as a trigger, although it is your trigger, and that they may or may not mean to trigger you. You need to build your emotional tolerance, and you need to understand what's going to trigger you, and you can be more alert when these triggered actions or words come about. Basically, understand what makes you insecure, understand your insecurities, understand what makes you violently react to certain situations, people, speech, anything that it is. And then the second step would be to, journal it, write about it, talk to a therapist, or work through them when you feel ready to do so. Because the point of a trigger is actually to trigger you. So when you already know your triggers, and when you're already prepared for certain situations that will arise with triggers, then you are less likely to be an emotional mess towards those triggers. That's why a lot of times books now come with trigger warnings, so the readers can be prepared if they're ready or not ready to read certain books depending on the triggers that are listed, because it might unlock something in them or it might traumatize them further. So I think this is the same approach that we need to take in our real life. Third healthy habit is to control your reality. Now, you need to understand that you are the one who controls your reality. You are the one who thinks the thoughts that you think, and you are the one who can accept these thoughts or reject these thoughts. You're not the one who's supposed to just blindly accept what everyone else is telling you and what your thoughts are telling you. You are a human being that's able to decipher what is going on. You're able to analyze, you're able to take a step back. You need to realize this in order to have a grasp on your emotional world. I know when it comes to a trigger, or when it comes to a moment of stress, of a high stress, or something that just tips you off the edge, it's very hard to control your reality, but it's a daily habit that you need to try to implement every day. And the way to do that is to stay focused, is to ask yourself questions. Ask yourself, is this real, or is this just my thoughts? Is this real, or is this just my emotions? Now, not to say that emotions are not real, because emotions are very much real. Take it from me, someone who has borderline personality disorders, my emotions, they feel real. They are always real, and they are always valid. However, most times I have to try to push over those emotions to really view the reality, really view my situation, and understand that these emotional responses are not for nothing. They're begging me to take something seriously. They're begging me to focus my attention in my world. They're begging me to focus my attention on something that is hurting me or something that is not working. So this is what you need to do. You need to control your reality by having the amount of focus into your life, into the things that are happening around you, and to realize what exactly is triggering you, what exactly is your emotional responses telling you. The fourth healthy habit is to stay away from drama. You have to try to stay away from drama as best as you can, because drama sticks, it follows, it's sticky, and if you're already in an emotional spot, if you already have troubles dealing with your emotions, why would you want to take on more drama, more chaos, and more of other people's own emotional life situations? You need to focus more on yourself and be able to handle yourself and be able to handle your emotions before even sticking your nose in other people's businesses or other people's problems. That's exactly what I'm trying to say here, because it's like, how are you expected to do anything or to resolve anything if you can't even resolve your own inner drama? I'm saying this with the most amount of love that I can muster, because I know what it's like to live in chaos and to seek out people that also have chaos, because it's comfortable. It's what you're used to. But by doing that, you will never have that emotional stability that you dream of. You need that time and space of your own. You need that time and space to reflect, to decompress, to understand, to untangle your own knots in your life, to be even in a stable place, to even listen or be around other people's drama. It's by strengthening those bonds with yourself and looking at your own problems and going through your own problems that actually is going to build your emotional strength. It's not by dealing with other people's drama. It's not by dealing with your best friend's drama. It's not about dealing with your ex drama. It's not about dealing with your family drama. There are some things where you need to be able to like step away from so you can actually protect your emotional compass, and that goes back to setting boundaries. So when you set boundaries, you're less likely to find yourself in the middle of drama, and then when people are trying to drag you into their drama, you have that power to be like, no thank you, I have my own, I need to focus on my own. And I don't think that is selfish. I think that is very necessary, because the more you involve yourself with other people's shit, the more you're gonna drown in your own shit. And the sad thing is that most time, people that just want drama and that just want dramatic emotional responses will just continue this cycle, will just unstabilize you even more. So you need to understand that life is not about drama. It's not about always having chaos. It has to have some balance. You're allowed to have emotions. Emotions are good. Emotions are not your enemy. However, you need that strength. You need these habits, these healthy habits to carry you through so that you can actually have stability in your life. And my fifth and final tip is to have alone time and downtime. This tip is really important because when you are in emotional outbursts, or when you have problems controlling your emotions, and when you have problems to be stable in your emotions, the thing is, the more you're around other people, the more you get other people's own projections, so you're more likely to even have more emotional stress. When you have that time for yourself every day, you can self-regulate, you can analyze, you can breathe, you can just allow yourself even to feel those emotions in your own quiet, in your own bubble, in your own time. I think alone time makes you stronger at the end of the day, because you kind of have to face yourself. You start to understand that no one can take that 100% of the emotional weight that you carry. At the end of the day, as much as we love everyone around us, as much as we rely on other people, most of our emotional baggage has to be dealt with by ourselves, because that's how you build strength. And when you can deal with your own baggage, it becomes easier to share strength with other people, and it becomes easier actually to even take some strength from other people. Life is just a matter of being in balance and being in tune. Sometimes you will be knocked down and you will need help from others. Other times you will have to help yourself, and it's just the reality of what it is. I do also think that other people can be a distraction from you facing your own emotional problems, and that's why it's good to have that time for yourself. It's good to, in general, it's good to enjoy some time with yourself, have your own company, and sit with your emotions and sit with your thoughts and try to build yourself up, try to do the research, try to have that time where you can actually reflect. So those were the end of my 5 healthy tips in order to build emotional strength. I hope this helped. I know it's a really hard thing to do. Trust me, I am still working on it. I'm 25 and I'm still working on these 5 habits daily. And sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. But it's the fact of being aware and really trying and putting your effort in it that is actually gonna help, because I've seen it with me. It has helped me. I had gone days in my life, years in my life, where I would cry every single day. That a little small thing would trigger me every single day. And since putting boundaries and since focusing on myself, it has helped me immensely. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what have you done to help build your emotional strength. And like I said, this video is not to shame anyone or to make anyone feel bad about their emotions. I think emotions are a beautiful thing. I think emotions are real. I think emotions are valuable and should be trusted in most cases. But you need to understand that you can't just live your life at the whims of your emotions, right? You want to be in control of your own life. You want to be in control of your emotions. And this comes from someone who has a lot of emotional trauma and a lot of emotional imbalances in life. And that's why I really wanted to share what has helped me and what has brought me a bit more stability. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Share some of your thoughts, and I'll see you on the next shelf. Bye!